Hello and welcome back to the Julia the Knitter podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Queens, New York, where I live with my handsome husband, my two crazy kids, and my wild beast of a dog who's currently licking my hands and staring right up at me. This is a podcast mainly about knitting, and sometimes there's sewing and sometimes there's crochet or spinning and basically any bit of craftiness that I seem to be getting into during the week. But that being said, let's get right into... Oh, Saoirse, I think, wants to say hello. This is Saoirse, my wild beast of a dog. Hi, Saoirse. Okay, down you go. Okay. Let's get into what I've been working on this week. It's been 2 weeks since I recorded, actually. So it's been a little bit of a weird 2 weeks, to be honest. The first week after I recorded, my daughter was homesick from basically most of the week. She had a really horrible virus, so I really didn't get much knitting done, especially since the major thing that I was working on was a Christmas present for her, so I really couldn't work on it with her around. And I had planned on casting something else on, but I just didn't get to it till this morning. Since it's this week, my daughter's back in school because she's feeling a little better, but there's just been so much going on this week. My mom is staying with us this week, and there's just been a lot of stuff. I had to get things together for a Veterans Day assembly at my daughter's school, and I was helping out with the Girl Scout meeting yesterday, and I had to bake something else for my husband for work, and it's just been... I don't think I've stopped moving since Monday, and it's Thursday afternoon now. But that being said, that's where we are. So what are we working on? What have we been working on? I have started a pair of mittens for my daughter for Christmas. Get down, Saoirse. Okay. These are... Let me get the name out. If I can find it. These are the mittens for Mammy. This is a colorwork pattern that it's actually been in my library for a long time. I can't remember if it's a paid for pattern or not. But it's just a simple DK weight, 2-color work pair of mittens. And I am knitting these up. Go lay down. I am knitting these up in some yarn by Debbie Bliss because this is what I had available. I had in my stash. I had it left over from a sweater I was knitting for my husband's cousin who was expecting a baby this past fall. So this is Debbie Bliss Rialto DK, and the main color is this turquoisey color. It's pretty bright. It's like an aqua, and I am doing my contrasting color in this gray. And I like the colors. I think if I were to knit these again, I would probably go for something with a bit more contrast between them because they're the hue of the two colors are very similar. So the design in the mittens doesn't stand out very well. I have finished the first one. I didn't put the thumb in yet. I'm going to put the thumbs in when I finish both of them. So I have it there with the little waist yarn. It's kind of like an afterthought thumb. But this is the underside, and it's just this little crisscross pattern all the way down. And the front, actually it's showing up pretty nicely. I wasn't sure if it would show up because the contrast is kind of low. It's just got this little florally leaf pattern going up the front. And that's the first mitten. And the second one I still have on my needles. And I'm probably about 75% done with this second one. This is my little Pancakes Progress Keeper from Itty Bitty Delights. I think it's just adorable. It's one of those polymer clay Progress Keepers. I just think they're so cute. And then again, the thumb is waiting to be put in. And again, crisscross on the back. The pattern itself actually knits up really nicely. I've been enjoying working on it. I always love color work, but I don't do it very often. And I always say, oh, I want to do more of it. And I just never do. I know some people like to see the guts of color work. So here's my floats, my insides. I just think they're pretty. Oh, it's always nice, a nice view, a nice thing to look at. But so they're coming along pretty nicely. I should have these done. I'd like to say I'd have them done this weekend, but we've got a lot of things going on this weekend, so who knows. They'll be done next week. But these, I said, again, are for Christmas for my daughter. And I'm knitting them a little bit on the big side because when you put this much work into something, I'd rather it last for a little while. And, you know, the thing with kids is they just keep growing. So I just cleaned out my kids' dressers, and it's like the stuff that they fit yesterday is too small for them now. They just keep growing. All that good food and stuff, I guess. I don't know. But that's the main thing I've been working on since we last spoke. Second, I cast on a sweater for my son for Christmas. Saoirse, you are just all over me today. This is a pattern by Tin Can Knits called Campfire, and it is in their Pacific Knits book. And I don't really have a great picture of the pattern to show you, especially since my printer is a little low on ink. But let's see if I didn't print them all out. No, I don't want to. Let's see if I can do this without giving too much of the pattern away, because it is a paper pattern. But it's just a little pullover sweater that's got a shawl collar and a little bit of a color work strip across the chest. Yikes. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. Okay. So I am knitting this up out of Rowan Superwash DK. Yes, Rowan Pure Wool Superwash DK. And I haven't gotten that far in it. Like I said, I just cast it on this morning. And I'm trying to avoid Sleeve Island because, you know, sleeves are the bane of any sweater knitter's existence. They just take so long. So I'm starting with the sleeves just to kind of get them done and out of the way and untangling my cable. I just have a little bit of the ribbing done. Go to bed. A little bit of the ribbing done. And so far I'm using the smaller needles, and once the ribbing is done I switch to a larger pair of needles. But these are my size 3 Signature Arts needles. I actually won these in a giveaway a few years ago, and they're pretty good, I have to say. They are an interchange, like the cord is interchangeable. You can remove the cord and put different cords in. So every now and again I do have to tighten the cord to make sure it stays in, because at one point, the first time I used them, I was knitting this really big pie shawl, and it turns out that my cable came out of my needle, and it was not fun picking up all those hundreds of stitches. But yes, so it's just something to keep in mind. I don't know. This is the only time I've ever used Signature Arts needles, this particular needle. I do really like the point that they have. They have a really sharp point, which is great for lace knitting. And it's a very smooth join, which I really appreciate. And I'm using my little hexagon-y stitch markers from Cat's Kettle. She puts out such nice yarn, and I don't know if she's dying anymore. I haven't really seen her do anything new in a while. I'm wondering what's going on there, because she had such beautiful yarns in her shop. A lot of like speckles, and it's really nice. Anyway, I'm just all over the place today. Bear with me. So this is my Campfire sweater, my little rib sleeves. I am knitting the body. The main color of my body is in this dark blue navy color, and blue is a good color for my son. It suits him. And then the contrasting stripe in the middle, let me see if I can find the color. It's going to be this lighter blue with this almost like a light sage green in the middle. So I think that'll be pretty nice. I like it. I can't wait for it to progress beyond sleeves, because sleeves are just, they're not as much fun as the rest of the sweater. I guess they get a bad rap. But I'm knitting, what size am I knitting? I'm knitting the size 2 to 4 in the sweater. My son wears about a size 2 now, and I'm hoping that the sweater will last him a little while. He has grown out of all the sweaters that I've knit him. That's why he's getting a sweater for Christmas. My other Christmas knitting plans, I would like to make a few hats for some people. And I know my daughter has requested socks, because she said, I don't fit in any more of my knit socks. I really do need some more knit socks, Mom. So I've got to make her some new knit socks. Her feet, I swear that kid goes through at least 2 shoe sizes every year. So if I knit them, I don't know, maybe I hate tube socks. I hate knit tube socks. But that may be the solution. So maybe I'll do knit tube socks for my daughter and my son for Christmas. The beauty of all the knit socks that I've made for my daughter over the year is that now my son is starting to fit into some of them, and he has been enjoying them. That's good. Crafty-wise, that's really about all I've been working on. Like I said, it's just been a hectic few weeks. But what are you going to do? So maybe what I'll do is I'll talk about what my favorite knits have been to wear over the last couple of weeks. Fall has really come to New York now in full force. We had a few really cold days last week, and nothing feels better than, hand knits on days like that. So my hand knit socks have been getting quite a lot of wear, I guess, over the last few weeks, which I love. And speaking of socks, I know Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast has her box of socks cal going on. And the idea of that cal is to knit 12 pairs of socks for yourself and put them in a box. This way, come January 1st, you've got a whole, at least 12 new pairs of socks to wear for yourself. Now, I have knit 12 pairs of socks this year. I'd say 9 or 10 of them for me. Yeah, 9 or 10. And then, I knit a pair of socks for my husband. I knit a pair of socks for my mom. I knit a pair of socks for my daughter. But unfortunately, I don't think those count. So I keep saying every year, oh, I'm going to participate in the box of socks cal. But I can never set aside 12 socks for myself. It just doesn't work out that way. So, and I can't let them sit there and wait until January 1st. So I've been breaking into all my socks that I've been knitting over the year, and I've just been loving all of them. I've got a few really nice pairs of socks that I knit out of Sweet Sparrow Knits yarns. And just a lot of great yarns. But I love my hand knit socks. Stop. Also, I have been wearing this shawl. I've basically been living in this shawl. It's probably one of my only worsted weight shawls. Most of the shawls I knit are, like a 1 skein or 2 skein fingering weight shawl. So they're not usually that big, and they're not, they do a little bit to keep the chill off your neck, but that's about it. 2 years ago, I knit this sweater. It was this shawl. It was a mystery knit along that Alana Dakos of Never Not Knitting was doing. And I knit this up out of Quine & Co.'s yarn. It's their worsted weight yarn. I can't think of what the exact yarn is called. I'll put it down below in the show notes. But it's a heavily cabled shawl, and it's called Four Seasons, so I guess it's like the bare branches up here, and then little by little the leaves start coming in, and you know, it's got this nice little lacy, leafy border, and it's just so cozy. So, and the edging, I'd never knit an edging like this. It's almost like a cabled edging. Can you see that? It kind of twists the whole way, and it's just gorgeous. It really is one of my favorite shawls, and like I said, I've been living in it because it just feels so good, the weight of it, and it just feels good. It's been cold, so it goes all the way down my back for the most part, and it kind of just, I get a chill down my back sometimes, and it's like there's an ice cube down my spine, and this just, it just cozies you up and makes you feel a little bit warmer, and it feels pretty good. So I've been living in that. Those have been my favorite knits for this week. I know I'm about 20 years behind the curve on this, but I finally got around to reading the Harry Potter books. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not. But my husband and my brother got me into reading the Harry Potter books, and I just finished the entire series. I've been reading them since about January, and I finished the 7th book the other day. And, you know, my overall impression, I thought they were pretty good. I don't think they're the best book I ever read, but they weren't bad. I wonder if I had read them when I was younger, would I have fallen in love with them much more than I do? Who knows? But I have, get down. Sorry, she's a little antsy right now. Shush. So, I read them, I liked them. I was glad to be done with them because I read them back to back, and I was ready to move on to different characters, different stories. I did my time at Hogwarts. I was ready to move on. So last December, a cousin of mine had told me about this trilogy that she read, about this Agnes Browne character. And a movie had come out, I don't know when the movie was out, maybe in the 90s, early 90s, called Agnes Browne, or Mrs. Browne, Agnes Browne. I don't know. Angelica Houston plays the title character, and it's such a cute movie. If you haven't seen it, it's just a gem. It's a little Irish movie about this little Irish family, and you gotta go check it out. But this series, the Agnes Browne trilogy, I'll call it, by Brendan O'Connell, is just this cute little series of books. The books are quick reads. When my cousin told me she read the whole trilogy in a weekend, I was like, yeah, okay, that's pushing it. But I had the first book read in 24 hours, which was shocking. Because it's not like I get a whole lot of time to read these days with 2 kids running around. But it was pretty good. So the first book was The Mammy. And I read that real quickly, and it's mostly about Agnes Browne and herself. The second book I just finished last night, and that's The Chisellers, and that's more about her children. And I started this morning The Granny. I'm not very far into it today. I haven't really had much time to sit down and really read today. But her oldest son just had a baby in the beginning of the book, and now she's a granny, and I don't think she really is ready to think of herself as a grandmother. But the series starts in Dublin, like the city center, inner city Dublin, in the early 60s. And she's just this woman, and her husband has just died, and she's got 7 kids, and she sells fruits and veggies out of her little stall, and it's just one of those books you laugh out loud, you cry, it just warms your heart, and it's hysterically funny. And I don't know if maybe if you didn't grow up with a really Irish family, maybe it won't really strike as much of a chord with you guys as it did with me, but it I mean, my grandparents all immigrated from Ireland, so a lot of it kind of rang true, I guess. Um, but anyway, I would recommend them. They're a great read. They're a quick read, and they're fun, and they're entertaining, and they just make you giggle. But that's that. Once I finish that, I'm not really sure what I'm going to read. I got to think about what my next book is. I don't know. I feel like I've been waiting so long to finish Harry Potter that I was so excited to read these because I've been waiting to read this series of books for quite some time. And now I'm like, what am I going to do when it's done? I don't know. We'll find out. Wow, I'm saying a lot today. I'm sorry for that. That's really most of what I've been doing. I do have yarn coming for a test knit that I'm going to be working on. I don't think I'm going to be able to share too many of the details about it until it's published, which will be sometime next year. I can say that it is a pullover. I'll talk more about it maybe once the yarn comes and once I've received the pattern and I can kind of talk to the designer, kind of find out what I can and cannot say about it. But I'm really excited about that. It's a really cute sweater. Nothing too crazy. I believe they're sending the patterns out to test knitters on December 1st. And I have till January 15th to knit it up. So my goal is to get a lot of my Christmas knitting done before December 1st, which I think I could definitely get the mittens and this sweater done by then. We'll see. If not completely done, then mostly done. And the rest of my Christmas knitting, like I said, I just want to do 2 to 4 hats, 2 pairs of kid socks left. And I do want to sew a project that's kind of on the bigger side. I've never done this particular kind of a project before. I don't want to say too much about it because I know that the person who will be receiving this project watches this podcast, so I don't want to say too much about it and spoil the surprise. So you'll just have to wait. I'll probably talk a little bit about it. Maybe before Christmas I'll record an episode with a roundup of all my Christmas knitting and on Christmas projects, because there's going to be sewing too. But I won't release it until after Christmas. This way I know everybody's received their gift, and I don't have to spoil anything for anybody. But those are my knitting plans of the future that are up and coming, what you can expect to be hearing about in the near future. Do any of you follow Curious Handmade on Instagram? Helen Stewart is her name, and she puts together every year Knit Vent. And it's kind of like an advent calendar for knitters. She releases a new pattern every week. Now I don't remember how many patterns it is. 6? 8? I'm not sure. I can't remember. I know I bought last year's. I don't think I've knit up any of those patterns just yet, because the patterns that were released, they weren't really coinciding with what I had already planned for Christmas knitting, but they were very nice. There's a lot of color work. I don't remember what the theme was, but this year the theme of the collection is the Nutcracker, and I mean, the Nutcracker ballet, it's so synonymous with Christmas. It's just part of the package. So I know that last week the first pattern came out, and it was the something sweets cowl. Now I don't know, but it was this lovely cowl that it's really good for if you have minis, stripes, and a little bit of lace. I'm not much of a cowl knitter because I guess maybe I just don't know how to wear them. I don't know, but I I've knit one or two. It's not really my cup of tea. But the pattern, she just released a second pattern today, and it is the tulle shawl, inspired by the tulle of all the ballerinas' little... What do you call those things? I never did dance, I'm sorry. Tutus, thank you. And it's this really pretty one skein shawl, one skein fingering weight project, and I really like her shawl. She has a really nice sense of design for shawls, and I know the yarn that she used in the pattern is slightly variegated, or maybe it has a little bit of speckles in it, but it's so pretty. And I know I have a lot of speckled yarn in my stash that I'm just thinking about, maybe that's a good one for that. I'm already planning my post-Christmas knitting, as you can see, and I know it has the options to put beads in it, and I really like beads and shawls. It just gives it a little something extra, you know. So I'm thinking maybe I'll knit that right after Christmas. I haven't knit a shawl in a while, to be honest. For a while I was knitting quite a few of them, but I don't know, I've really been on a sick sock knitting binge this year. I've knit a lot of socks. Maybe I think a lot of it has to do with this year. It's just been so crazy with all kinds of things going on, that there's something so satisfying about a sock. Particularly self-striping socks. And you know, I like that you can work on just a plain vanilla sock and kind of just space out a little bit, and kind of knitting is meditative like that for me, or at least vanilla socks are. Kind of lets you get out of your head for a little bit, and I like that. The fact that I don't have a sock on my needles right now is actually kind of like, what do I do with myself? I don't know. And I just want to cast on more socks for me. I know I'm not going to be able to knit 3 more pairs of socks for myself by the end of the year to qualify for Kristen's box of socks count. But I just want to knit myself all the socks. But I've got a few plans for Christmas knitting, future post-Christmas knitting, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I just want all the Christmas knitting done so I can knit all the stuff for me again. I've become a very selfish knitter in the last year, which normally isn't the case. But I think that's really all I've got going on. I feel like I've been rambling this entire half an hour, and I hope you guys don't mind that I've just been completely all over the place. So bear with me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you do, make sure you like the video and subscribe. I will post the show notes down below, like I usually do. And what do you guys think about those knitters that are on Ravelry? Are you interested in a Ravelry group on there? Something I've been thinking about, but it might be a good idea, so we can talk amongst yourselves, and we could all kind of, I could get to know you, you can get to know me, we can talk about what we're working on. Maybe we'll do some knit-alongs, giveaways, who knows, all that kind of thing. We can talk about what we're reading. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Comment below or send me a message on Instagram. I am, once again, Julia the Knitter on Instagram, and I am Bangers and Mash on Ravelry. Feel free to contact me through either. I'm usually pretty good about getting back to messages. But if you have any questions, comments, things that you love, things that you hate, things you just want to say, hey, I really like what you're knitting, and whatever. Say hello. This dog is driving me crazy today. I'm so sorry. She's not normally jumping up on me all over the couch. So, with that, I'm going to go. Have fun. Have a nice week. I'll probably be back. I think this every other week schedule has been working out pretty nicely. So, it'll probably be 2 weeks before I record again. Yeah, because next week is Thanksgiving, so I know I'm not going to get to record. I usually record on Thursday or Friday. That's not going to happen next week. So I'll record the following week. So I'll see you all. Keep knitting. Have fun. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.